Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another freaking amazing episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, I love these episodes. I get to bring back people who were thriving so loudly the first time that we got them on the show and we're excited to tell their story. And then we were fortunate enough to continue a connection with these wonderful individuals to learn that they continue to be thriving in directions we couldn't even imagine, have great new things coming out, and we want to update our amazing community because this guy is a rock star. You know him from founding BookThinkers. You know him and will know him very, very soon as this episode is dropping because he's got a book coming out himself. The guy reads more books a week, a day, a month, a year than you could ever imagine, but more notably, he is an entrepreneur and has learned to delegate and grow in a way that is way mature beyond his years. I got to hang out with him a bunch this year. I got to hang out with him in Orlando, Florida, but I'm more excited to hang out with him now as I bring you the amazing Nick Hutchison. Nick, welcome to Thrive Loud, my friend.
Lou, I am thriving. I hope I can live up to that introduction. That was amazing.
It is true because you are amazing and you've got some unbelievable stuff. I'm going to give the listeners the fast forward version because we're going to provide them the links to your previous episode. We're going to provide them the links to your amazing platform and all that stuff on the show notes and all of that. But what we really want to do is just catch up. It's been about, I know this sounds crazy, but it's not quite a year, but it's pretty close to it. I got the opportunity to connect with you when my book came out last September. We met then, we got you flip-flopped and got you on the program. And now we are here in almost toward the end of 2023. And a lot has happened in your world. Nick, here's what I want you to do. Do the quick rewind. Since the last time we got on the show, talk about the growth of your business, your brand, and what you've been up to, because there's a lot of things going on.
Yes, so many things. I've traveled to a bunch of countries. I got married. We went on our honeymoon. I have a book coming out in November, so I spent a lot of time writing and working on that book. My business has grown from, September of last year, I think we had a full-time team of 3. Now we've got a full-time team of 8. So the business has grown. We've worked with hundreds of new people, and life is amazing. I am thriving and having a great time, enjoying the passage of time.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about, I'm going to chip this into the fun order that our listeners I know would be accustomed to. Let's talk about the growth of your business. Not only have you been growing your business, I would have to argue that you've been growing it in a very manageable way. So let's talk about that and where the business has gone to, not only the number of people, but the offerings even that you're putting together in your package have changed since you've started your company. So share that with the listeners and community so they're brought up to speed.
Sure. So I am the creator of BookThinkers. We are a mission-driven digital marketing company that helps nonfiction authors promote and market their books. There are a million ways to promote and market a book. We're really good at 3 of them. Number 1, we do short form video content. So we will fly out and help an author turn the concepts from their book into 50 to 100 pieces of short form video content. Number 2, we've gotten very good at podcast booking. In fact, we've placed a few authors on this show, Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond. And then number 3, we have a very large community, about 150,000 nonfiction readers on social media. And so we review books for authors on social media. And as that business has continued to grow and we've continued to work with more and more authors, we've niched down farther and farther, and we've provided a bigger impact to our clients. as that's been happening, I wanted to make sure that I didn't get too far outside of my comfort zone and this entire business would just crumble down on top of me. And so, what I've done, and here's the metaphor I like to use: if you take an elastic band, if you stretch it slowly, it can get bigger and bigger and bigger. But if you stretch it too fast, it'll break. And I think that's what happens sometimes when businesses start to experience a little bit of success. And so, yeah, I've been automating, delegating, optimizing, eliminating all this low impact stuff so that I can focus on what I enjoy the most and give everybody else the opportunity to do what they enjoy the most.
Before I go down the line of questioning, I'm going to rewind. What do you enjoy the most of the hats that you wear within this business?
I love networking. I love selling. And so the thing that I enjoy the most is getting on a call with an author like you, Lou, and having a conversation about your book so that I can understand the goals, the backstory, what you want to do with it in the future, and see if Book Thinkers might be a good fit. But I also love being interviewed on podcasts like this as well, because as you've taught me through your programs, podcasting is an excellent networking opportunity. It helps you bypass a lot of the awkward sales talk and just get to know somebody. It's like a skip forward button.
Yeah, it's the ultimate connecting tool, as I like to say. It's the greatest connect working tool. This is something that I think is really cool. I've noticed this. The quality of the production that you are putting together, not only on your own podcast program where you do interview a lot of the authors there, the videos themselves are incredible. They're engaging, they're enticing. I think you have learned when you've done all of your book reviews to not only help to promote those book reviews and talk about the great things through social media, you've done a phenomenal job of packaging a lot of these authors and their new books and their content in really creative ways. Have you consciously known this, or it's just been getting really good resources around you to make it better?
Well, I think repetition leads to retention. I also think repetition leads to small improvements over time. And so, yeah, we're just getting better and better and better at it. I love capturing attention on a short form piece of content and trying to hold that viewer through the end of the video. It's an art, it's a science, it's a little bit of both. And yeah, it's a fun way to grow this business. I mean, every time we create a piece of content for one of our author clients, we're also advertising our business because people might reach out and be like, oh, hey, Lori, oh, hey, Ken, what's going on with this cool video that you just put out? Who's doing your video content? And so, yeah, we want to put the best effort that we can into every video.
Listeners need to know, if you went back to the previous episode, you would have learned that this individual who's on our program right now, Nick, absorbs an unbelievable amount of nonfiction book content. I'm not kidding you when I tell you the books that are all behind him, if you're watching the video here, he's definitely read them. He would read every book, he would absorb it. And this is living proof that if you pick some of the best content out there, you can utilize a lot of these business tips and formulate them into your own lessons and take the best learnings, like the fast track, to somebody who is not yet 30, I believe. Is that true? You're still in your 20s.
That is true. Still in my 20s. Yep.
So he's used all this information. And this is the question I've been dying to know. You have been overwhelmed with incredible information, some of the most brilliant content out there from great authors like myself as well. Tons of great content. Everybody's lining up with some of the best books out there, and you're reading them, and you've been taking them and trying to figure out, well, at my own business, what can I use here? How do you filter and siphon through all these different suggestions, which may be applicable, may not be applicable? How have you been able to cater it to Nick Hutchison?
Yeah, that's a great question. I do a lot of reflecting. I spend a lot of time thinking about the problems in my life that I'd like to solve or the skill sets that I'd like to strengthen. And I choose the books that can help me go from A to Z. I think there's a big difference between where all of us are today and where we want to be in the future. And I know that there are a number of skills that we can improve on or problems that we can solve to help us get there more efficiently. And what's amazing about so many of the books, including yours, Lou, that I've read, is that people are condensing literally decades of information and wisdom into days of potential application and reading. I mean, I can spend $20 on a good book. It can solve a major problem in my life and help me make tons of money or help me be so much healthier or so much happier just by simply reading and applying the information. And so I'm learning, Lou, over time that I think my word is action.
Hmm.
Like I used to think that it was progress. I'm all about progress, helping other people make progress, but I think progress is a lag. I think the lead indicator is taking action. I want to help people go from information in these books, these podcasts, to the actual action that leads to behavior change. That's sort
Yeah.
of becoming my magic sauce, I think.
So now we get to have the fun question because to a guy who's read a lot of books, you've now flipped the scripts and you've written your own book. Share with the listeners, first of all, what inspired you to pick the topic that you have decided to write about, and then I'll dive in a little bit more into the actual process of writing. So what inspired this book that we're going to promote here, and everyone's getting a chance to see through all the links?
Over the years, I've received literally hundreds, maybe 1,000 individual DMs from my followers asking me some variation of the following question. Hey, Nick, I'm reading all of these amazing books that you're recommending, but I'm having a hard time transforming the information into action and behavior change. What am I missing? What implementation frameworks exist that I'm not aware of? And I didn't have a great answer for them. I mean, I could send a voice note, I could type something out, but I knew that what I've done in my own life to take the books that I've been reading and literally create my dream reality, I knew that it would have to be a long form thing that somebody could consume. It had a lot of variables, it had a lot of parts. And so I thought, what's the number one thing that I know my audience will consume? It's not courses, it's not speaking, it's not YouTube videos, it's a book. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I had to do. I had to write a book to solve that problem. How do you take information and translate it into action? And so we've got Rise of the Reader, Strategies for Mastering Your Reading Habits and Applying What You Learn. It's launching on November 1st. Lou, I'm not sure when this episode is going to come out, but we're recording it in advance. And so, yeah, it's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all of your favorite online retailers. You can check out the BookThinkers Instagram. And that's the thing, Lou, is like my book does not replace yours. It should be read in tandem so that people can take everything in your book and they can implement it more efficiently, more effectively. I'm talking note taking, I'm talking accountability groups, the whole 9 yards.
The writing process for you, to someone that has a very efficient way of running a business, who has a very efficient way of figuring out how to use his time to read books, did you apply some kind of efficient process into writing the book?
I would love to pretend that I did. I would love to tell everybody that I did, because the fact is, I actually read a bunch of books on writing and I took a bunch of advice from people like you and other authors that I connect with frequently. Um, but that's the thing. Writing the book continued to fall on my list in terms of priority.
Mm.
And so as I would continue to delegate more and more of what I was doing on a daily basis, that would get backfilled with more of what I consider to be priority information and or priority meetings, opportunities, travel, etc. And so yeah, the book would always fall. And I would go through these short periods of time where I would go through these sprints, like on airplanes, for instance. I love writing on airplanes because if I'm flying from Boston to LA, that's 6 hours. And so no distractions. I wouldn't connect to the Wi-Fi. It's not really reliable half the time anyway. And so I could sit down and I could get into a deep workspace and I could write, because most of the other stuff that I love to do, selling, networking, marketing, that requires an internet connection, and writing a book does not. And so, yeah, that's how I ended up getting a lot of the writing done.
I asked this question to all the authors, and you've given me a lot of amazing authors that have worked with on your platform to come on the show, so you know where this is going. There is an unexpected gift that every author actually receives in writing the book, because you've given a gift to the world in creating a great book that everyone can go out and buy, which we're going to give all the links for everybody should do. But to you, some amazing gift happens in the writing process. To you, Nick Hutchison, what was that unexpected happy accident, if you would?
Well, there have been tons of happy accidents, but I'll pick out a few. I think the first is that writing a good personal development nonfiction style book is an opportunity for you to consolidate your message, to really articulate it, be able to teach it more effectively. And that provides a lot of clarity. It helps you understand your purpose a little bit more efficiently. And so the writing process in and of itself was a difficult challenge. But on the other side, I have all of these cool frameworks that I've finally been able to put together, articulate, and I love that. I've also strengthened a lot of friendships and relationships by reaching out to other authors and asking for help and mentorship. So that's been another blessing. And obviously, now I'm going to have a book, something that when I bump into somebody on the street or when I'm at a conference and they say, "Hey, how do you do what you do?" Rather than just kind of giving a 2-second answer, I'll be able to hand them a copy of my book. One of my favorite examples of what I'm trying to articulate, MJ DeMarco, he wrote a book. Well, he wrote a number, but one called The Millionaire Fastlane. And he'd drive around in his Lamborghini and people would come up to him and say, "Hey, how'd you get the Lamborghini? What do you do?" And he'd say, "Oh, hold on, read this book." And that's the gift that he's able to give out to other people. And so I've always wanted to be able to do that myself.
We obviously have a lot of former authors and guests, current authors that have been on this program who are hearing this right now, very excited for Nick. And everyone is thinking exactly what I'm thinking. Nick is literally going to run out of space on the book to have all the testimonials from the amazing authors that want to write a testimonial for Nick because he's connected to all these authors. I want, let it be known, I'm throwing my hat. I want to be involved in the process in writing a review, which we'll do anyway. But just know.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. You know what? Can I tell a quick story?
Yeah, of course.
I actually decided not to put anything on the book
Got it.
because of that exact problem. And most books are purchased virtually nowadays. So what I will do is put something in the Amazon description or in the description somewhere online. And the first one that I reached out to one person, Stephen Pressfield, the author of The War of Art, as well as a number of other bestsellers. For me, he's kind of like the OG guy for overcoming resistance and taking better action. And so he wrote a nice blurb for me, which is amazing. And but yes, Lou, I'd love to make sure that you have the arc. You can go through it a little bit, and then we could put a blurb in the Amazon description and on my website and everything like that.
I'm already signed up for it. I can't wait. I'm actually eagerly excited as you know I get into this. Okay. One last thing before we do the Fun Street bit, and it'll be a perfect Fun Street thing. Congratulations, as you know, you got married.
Yes.
So you not only got married, but you had kind of, as I happen to know this because Nick and I had interactions throughout 23, and literally he was getting married. Then he was on like a mini bit of a honeymoon, and then he went on another honeymoon. Can you share with your travel plans and what you've done with your new bride as you've kicked off the year?
Yeah, I love international travel. It's one of my favorite forms of personal development. I think as we travel to countries where we don't understand the language or the food or the culture, there's an opportunity for growth. And so my beautiful wife and I got married in Aruba. We stayed in Aruba for about a week. That's an island in the south of the Caribbean. It was a beautiful wedding right on the beach. Couldn't have asked for better weather. It was amazing. And then we came home. And let's see, I had some trips right around then, stayed home for a little bit, and then went to 6 different countries throughout Europe. We went to Norway, we went to Spain, we went to Sweden, we went to, Croatia, Greece, we went to Austria. And wow, what an amazing trip. And then like the minute that I got home, I went to Florida and hung out with Lou in Orlando. Like same day, I just got on another plane and went south. But wouldn't trade it.
Listeners need to know this, that he literally described what was going on, and he and I had been communicating, and I was confused because I legitimately knew that he got married in Aruba, but didn't know, I don't know if that was the wedding or the honeymoon. And then I hear of this crazy trip, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, within like 36 hours of me seeing him, he's like, "All right, I'm going to see you in Orlando on Saturday." And I'm like, "What? Where are you? Like, what planet is he on?" So he's just committed to the business, and he had a good time there as well. So he made it productive, and I'm glad you had a great trip. All right.
Yeah, like I said, planes, that's the best place to work anyway.
I'm with you on that. Okay, we're going to do the plug section right now. So give out URLs, social handles, everything for your business, for the book. We'll put it on the show notes, but it gets more engagement when they hear it from you.
Sure. BookThinkers.com. There you can find information on the business. You can find information on the book. BookThinkers on Instagram. That's our largest community, the most interactive community. Just make sure you give us a follow, check out the book recommendations, and shoot me a DM if you want a personalized recommendation for you. I might ask you a little bit more about your problems, go back and forth a little bit, provide a recommendation. And I'm starting to build out a little bit of a personal brand. And unfortunately, nickhutchison.com was taken. Tried to buy it from the guy, didn't want to give it up. So I've got nickhutch.com. Hutch was my nickname all throughout high school and college. People just shortened my last name Hutch. So I've got nickhutch.com, riseofthereaderbook.com. Whatever makes the most sense for you, check it out. You can find more info on the book.
Now you get to feel what it's like to have a name like Lou Diamond, where everybody has that name and locked up. So I like that. That's how we got Thrive Loud. So it all started that way. All right.
Yep.
You ready for? We're calling it now since the last time you've been on there. We're about to embark on taking a shot of liquid courage. We're going to raise a glass to you. It could be hydration station. It could be whatever you're drinking. We're throwing it back because we're going down on the Speakeasy Fun Street. There he is. You could take your hydration. You're going to need it right now. And we're going to have a revised version of what we did the first time you were on the program, which is the Fun Street version. By the way, this comes from, we keep giving Diana Kanzer the shout out because she got me the cool Speakeasy shot glass, which I'm going to have to get many more of. And what we're going to do, by the way, good idea for BookThinkers and good promotions on the book. We're going to talk more about that. I'm going to ask you something first thing that comes to your mind, but I'm going to start off with something new. You do travel a lot. You go through some stuff, and I know you're more of a reader. But was there ever a show this year that you were streaming or one of those guilty pleasures that maybe you and your newlywed wife would watch and get hooked on?
Oh, yeah, tons of them. The final season of Succession happened this year, HBO, 10 out of 10 show. And guilty pleasure because a little bit of business talk, a little bit of drama. I mean, you can't ask for something better than that.
I'd say a little bit of business talk, a lot of bit of drama, right?
Yes, true. It's like Game of Thrones, but in New York City.
Oh my God, so much so. And such backstabbing, you don't know where to look next. But really well played, and they finished it really nicely. I think that was I like shows that put a good bow on it when they want to end a show. Okay, we're gonna do a speed round. First thing that comes to your mind, most of these things they lift you up, they make you feel good, and it's gonna be a different vibe, if you would. Nick gets stuck on a desert island. He gets to hear one musician, his best works or his anthology or whatever it is, or hers. What band, music, performer are you listening to on that desert island? You get one.
U2. I choose U2. Yeah, big Bono fan. He was kind of my dad's biggest inspiration when I was growing up. So I listen to a lot of U2, and they have a lot of depth to their music in terms of, you can't get bored listening to 10 different albums.
I like that. Okay. This is a tough one, and I'm not asking you to pick favorites. So I'm going to do it in a way that makes it easy. 3 legendary authors who you have not interviewed or been part of your service with. 3 legendary authors that if you had a chance to have lunch or a meal with, who would they be?
Tim Ferriss, the author of many books, including The 4-Hour Workweek. I love his podcast. I love everything that he does for me and my business anonymously. He doesn't know who I am, but Tim Ferriss is number 1. Number 2, I would love for Andrew Huberman to write a book. He's the author of a lot of blog posts, articles. He's sort of in the biohacking space. He's a neurobiologist at Stanford. And I'd love for him to write a book. So I'm going to cheat and put him as number 2. And then recently, one of my favorite quotes, he's not around anymore, but one of my favorite quotes is, "Action is the real measure of intelligence." That's a Napoleon Hill quote. Napoleon Hill wrote Think and Grow Rich, Outwitting the Devil, a few other good books. And so, yeah, I'd like to hang out and talk with Napoleon Hill a little bit.
A new activity to Nick Hutchison that he's recently tried, that he likes so much, he wants to tell everybody else to try it.
All right, this is going to sound pretty lame, but sprouting. So I love taking broccoli seeds or alfalfa seeds, sprouting them in these little mason jars, and then adding them to my salads. There are a lot of anti-cancer fighting materials in the sprouting process as something is first growing. And so I've got this whole little sprouting station. I interviewed this guy, Doug Evans, on my podcast, who wrote the Sprout book. And it's all about how broccoli sprouts are the healthiest food on the planet. I'm really into biohacking, health, fitness, things like that. And so, sprouting. I don't think I've ever talked about that one before.
No, that's pretty awesome, and I've never even heard of it. So that's I know what it is, but I didn't know that description of what you could do it. Who knew? Sprouting.
Yeah.
We're all sprouting, and that's not surprising because it has a little bit of a growth, a new growth for you, which is all good positive
True.
growth in the upward direction. All right, last thing. If I could snap my fingers, and Nick Hutchison could go to a place that he's never been to before, where is he going?
I'm in Egypt, and I'm exploring the Nile. I'm exploring the Great Pyramids. I'm exploring sort of like a desert travel destination. I've never done that before.
Yeah, something tells me you'll be doing that soon enough. That snapping finger is happening. Nick Hutchison, the man, cheers to you, man. Congrats on the book. Congrats on the business. Congrats on an amazing year. Obviously, as you've all learned here, Nick and I know each other pretty well, and we've got a lot of folks that come through it. But for those who haven't had a chance to check out his stuff, you got it, because it's great content. It's great stuff. And trust me, we've got a couple of money sizzle reel shots coming up from this episode that you'll all get a chance to take a look at, and you'll enjoy them across social. It'll be a lot of fun. Thanks for coming on the program, my brother.
Lou, you are amazing at what you do. Thank you.
You got it, my brother. And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
Too high. I wanna tear down the walls that hold me inside. Wanna reach out, touch the flame. Where the streets are lonely. You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.